you begin to understand that everyone in your life is reflecting your inner world, something profound happens. You stop feeling at the mercy of circumstances and start recognizing your quiet power. Life is no longer random. It becomes responsive. What you believe about yourself is constantly being mirrored back through people, situations, and experiences. The world you experience each day is not separate from you. It is responding to the conversations you hold within yourself moment by moment. Long before words are spoken aloud, before actions are taken, there is an inner dialogue shaping how you see yourself, how you expect to be treated, and what you believe is possible for you. Life listens closely to that inner voice and mirrors it back through people, circumstances, and opportunities. Every thought you repeat about yourself becomes a quiet instruction to the world. If you consistently tell yourself that you are overlooked, life will find ways to confirm that story. If you believe you must struggle to receive love or abundance, situations will arise that echo that belief. This is not because life is cruel, but because it is responsive. It reflects what you assume to be true. Many people try to change their lives by controlling external conditions, fixing relationships, chasing validation, forcing outcomes. Yet the true place of influence has always been internal. The way you speak to yourself when no one else is listening sets the tone for how life responds. When your inner conversations are filled with self-criticism, fear, or doubt, the world seems harsh and uncooperative. When those conversations soften into kindness and trust, life begins to feel more supportive. Your inner dialogue also shapes how you interpret events. Two people can experience the same situation and walk away with completely different meanings. One sees rejection, the other sees redirection. One hears criticism, the other hears guidance. The difference is not in the event itself, but in the belief system interpreting it. Your inner conversations decide whether life feels threatening or friendly. Often, people are unaware of the subtle ways they speak to themselves. It happens automatically, formed by past experiences, conditioning, and old emotional wounds. You may not even realize how often you tell yourself you are not enough, not safe, or not chosen. Yet life hears these messages clearly and responds in kind. Awareness is the first step toward change. When you begin to notice your inner voice, you reclaim the power to reshape it. As you become more conscious of your thoughts, you may notice that certain patterns repeat in your life. Similar relationship dynamics, recurring challenges, familiar disappointments. These patterns are not accidents. They are reflections of deeply held beliefs seeking acknowledgement and healing. Life brings them forward again and again, not to punish you, but to invite a new response. When you choose to speak differently to yourself, the reflection must change. If you begin affirming your worth, even gently and imperfectly, life starts to respond with more respect. If you remind yourself that you are safe, supported, and capable, opportunities begin to feel less threatening and more accessible. The world does not need to be forced. It follows the lead of your inner state. Self-compassion is especially powerful in this process. When your inner conversations are harsh, the world feels sharp and unforgiving. When you learn to meet yourself with patience and understanding, life mirrors that softness. You attract experiences that match the energy of acceptance rather than judgment. This does not mean challenges disappear, but they lose their emotional charge. They become easier to navigate. Your body also listens to your inner dialogue. Every thought sends a signal through your nervous system. Kind thoughts bring relaxation and openness. Fearful thoughts create tension and contraction. As your body relaxes, you naturally become more receptive to positive experiences. Life responds not only to what you think, but to how safe you feel while thinking it. Changing your inner conversations does not require perfection. It requires willingness. You may still have moments of doubt, fear, or old habits resurfacing. What matters is that you gently redirect yourself without criticism. Each loving correction tells life that a new story is being written. As your inner dialogue becomes more supportive, you will notice subtle shifts. People may treat you differently. Situations may resolve more easily. New possibilities may appear where none existed before. These are natural reflections of your internal change. The mirror is adjusting. Over time, you realize that the world has never been against you. It has always been listening. It responds faithfully to the messages you send through your thoughts, beliefs, and emotional tone. When you choose to speak to yourself with love, life reflects that love back in ways both expected and surprising. You are not here to fight reality. You are here to align with it. By nurturing kinder inner conversations, you create a life that feels gentler, more cooperative, and more abundant. The world reflects what you consistently believe about yourself. Choose beliefs that support your peace, and life will follow. When something or someone triggers an emotional reaction within you, it is easy to believe that the discomfort is coming from the outside. A tone of voice, a message left unanswered, a familiar pattern repeating itself can instantly stir anger, sadness, fear, or insecurity. Yet triggers are not created by others. They are activated by something already living within you, quietly asking to be seen and healed. A trigger is a signal, not a flaw. It points to a belief formed at an earlier time, often when you did not yet have the tools, safety, or awareness you have now. The emotional intensity of a trigger comes from the past meeting the present. Life uses these moments to bring hidden wounds into your awareness, not to overwhelm you, but to release you from them. When you are triggered, your nervous system reacts before your mind can explain what is happening. Your body remembers experiences that shaped your beliefs about love, safety, worth, or belonging. The reaction may feel sudden, but it is deeply familiar. It is the echo of an old story resurfacing for healing. Many people attempt to avoid triggers or blame others for causing them. While this is understandable, it keeps the focus outside and delays healing. The true gift of a trigger is self-awareness. It shows you exactly where compassion is needed within yourself. When you shift from asking, "Why are they doing this to me?" to, "What is this revealing about my belief?" the experience transforms from pain into insight. Triggers often arise around themes of abandonment, rejection, control, or self-worth. If you carry a belief that you are not enough, situations will arise that appear to confirm it. If you believe love must be earned or fought for, relationships may feel unstable or draining. Life is not testing you. It is reflecting what is ready to be healed. The discomfort you feel is not a sign of failure. It is evidence of growth. Healing cannot happen without awareness, and awareness often arrives through contrast. The very thing that unsettles you is pointing you toward freedom. When you allow yourself to sit with the emotion instead of resisting it, the belief beneath it begins to loosen its grip. Self-compassion is essential in this process. Triggers are not something to fix or suppress. They are invitations to respond differently than you did in the past. When you meet yourself with kindness during a trigger, you send a powerful message to your inner world. You are safe now. That sense of safety allows the nervous system to calm and the old belief to release. As you practice, observing your triggers without judgment. You may notice patterns. Certain words, behaviors, or situations consistently activate the same emotional response. These patterns are not coincidences. They are pathways leading you back to unresolved beliefs. Each time you choose awareness instead of reaction, the emotional charge weakens. Healing does not mean triggers will never arise again. It means they lose their control over you. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. What once caused collapse becomes a moment of reflection. You begin to respond with clarity rather than defense. As beliefs heal, the external world changes naturally. People may behave differently. Situations that once felt painful no longer affect you in the same way. Some patterns disappear altogether because the belief sustaining them is gone. This is not something you force. It happens as a natural response to inner alignment. Triggers are proof that your inner world is communicating with you. They are reminders that healing is active, alive, and unfolding. Each trigger offers an opportunity to choose love over fear, understanding over judgment, and presence over avoidance. When you stop fearing your triggers and start listening to them, they become allies rather than enemies. They guide you back to wholeness. They show you where to offer gentleness, reassurance, and acceptance. And as you heal the belief beneath the reaction, the trigger dissolves. Life becomes lighter when you realize that nothing is here to harm you. Everything is here to help you remember who you truly are, worthy, safe, and whole. The way you experience relationships is deeply connected to the way you relate to yourself. Long before another person enters your life, the tone of that connection is already set by your inner relationship. When self-love is absent, relationships often feel like work, struggle, or survival. When self-love is present, relationships begin to soften, align, and unfold naturally. Self-love is not about becoming selfish or detached. It is about creating a safe, respectful inner environment where you are no longer negotiating your worth. When you treat yourself with kindness, patience, and honesty, you stop asking others to fill emotional gaps they were never meant to carry. This shift alone changes how people show up for you. When self-love is weak, relationships can become places of seeking validation, reassurance, attention, or approval. This creates imbalance. You may overgive, over-explain, or tolerate behavior that does not honor you, not because you lack awareness, but because a part of you fears losing connection. Life mirrors this fear by bringing experiences that reinforce it. As self-love strengthens, the need to seek begins to dissolve. You no longer feel the urge to chase, prove, or convince. Your energy changes. You become calmer, more grounded, and more present. Others feel this shift, even if nothing is said aloud. Relationships respond to the frequency you embody, not the effort you apply. Self-love teaches you to listen to your feelings without judgment. You stop ignoring discomfort just to keep peace. You begin honoring your emotional boundaries. This does not create conflict, it creates clarity. When you respect your own limits, others learn how to respect them too. And those who cannot often fall away, not through force, but through natural alignment. As you speak more kindly to yourself, your expectations shift. You no longer expect to be disappointed, overlooked, or misunderstood. You begin to expect respect and mutual care. Life reflects these assumptions back through healthier interactions and more supportive connections. Self-love also changes how you respond to others. You become less reactive and more understanding. You stop taking things personally because your sense of worth is no longer dependent on external behavior. This emotional stability allows relationships to breathe. Conversations become calmer. Conflicts become easier to resolve or less frequent altogether. When you love yourself, you stop trying to change people. You allow them to be who they are while remaining honest about what you need. This authenticity invites deeper connections. It also filters out dynamics that no longer match your growth. This is not loss, it is refinement. Your nervous system plays a vital role in this process. Self-love creates inner safety. When you feel safe within yourself, you are less likely to cling, avoid, or react defensively. This sense of safety is communicated energetically and emotionally, making relationships feel more stable and secure. As old patterns dissolve, you may notice that some relationships transform in unexpected ways. People may become more affectionate, more respectful, or more consistent. Others may fade quietly from your life. Both outcomes serve your well-being. Life always rearranges relationships to match your level of self-connection. Self-love does not guarantee perfection in relationships. It guarantees alignment. You become available for connections that reflect mutual respect, emotional honesty, and shared values. You are no longer available for dynamics built on fear, imbalance, or self-abandonment. Over time, you realize that relationships were never meant to complete you. They are meant to complement the wholeness you cultivate within yourself. When you stop outsourcing your worth, love flows more freely and naturally. The most powerful relationship you will ever have is the one you have with yourself. As you nurture it with patience, forgiveness, and care, every other relationship begins to mirror that love. You do not force change. You embody it, and life responds accordingly. When you feel safe within yourself, the world begins to feel safer too. Inner safety is the quiet assurance that you are supported, capable, and allowed to exist just as you are. It is not something granted by circumstances or people. It is cultivated from within through the way you think, feel, and respond to life. And once this sense of safety is established, everything outside begins to reorganize around it. Many people live with a constant sense of tension, even when nothing is visibly wrong. The body stays alert, the mind anticipates problems, and the heart braces for disappointment. This state does not come from the present moment. It is the result of past experiences teaching the nervous system to expect threat. Life then mirrors this inner state through chaos, conflict, or repeated challenges, not as punishment, but as reflection. Inner safety begins when you stop treating yourself as a problem that needs fixing. When you replace self-criticism with understanding, your body receives a powerful signal that it can relax. This relaxation is not weakness, it is regulation. And a regulated nervous system responds to life with clarity instead of fear. As inner safety grows, your reactions change. You pause instead of panic. You listen instead of defend. You trust instead of control. This shift alone changes how others interact with you. People sense emotional stability. Situations de-escalate. Opportunities appear less threatening and more accessible. Harmony outside begins with calm inside. When you feel safe within, you stop forcing outcomes. The need to control fades because trust takes its place. You understand that you can handle whatever arises. This confidence is subtle but powerful. Life responds by meeting you with fewer obstacles and smoother transitions. Resistance dissolves when fear is no longer leading. Inner safety also transforms your relationship with uncertainty. Instead of seeing the unknown as danger, you view it as possibility. This openness allows life to move more freely through you. Creativity expands. Decisions become easier. You are guided not by urgency, but by intuition. Your body plays a central role in this process. When you consistently reassure yourself through gentle thoughts, kind words, and patience, your body releases stored tension. As tension dissolves, your perception of reality changes. You notice beauty where you once noticed threat. You attract experiences that match your calm state. Relationships are deeply affected by inner safety. When you feel safe within yourself, you no longer seek reassurance from others. You communicate clearly. You set boundaries without guilt. You allow space without fear. This emotional maturity invites healthier connections. Drama loses its appeal because peace becomes more valuable. Inner safety does not mean challenges disappear. It means they no longer define you. You move through difficulties with grace rather than resistance. Life responds by offering solutions instead of obstacles. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. As you practice inner safety, you begin trusting your own presence. You realize that you do not need external validation to feel whole. This self-trust creates a magnetic quality. People and opportunities are drawn to your grounded energy. Over time, you may notice synchronicities increasing. Things fall into place without effort. Conversations flow. Timing improves. These are natural results of alignment. When your inner world is calm, the external world mirrors that harmony. Inner safety is built through daily choices. Choosing gentle self-talk. Choosing rest without guilt. Choosing presence over worry. Each choice reinforces the message that you are safe now. Life listens and responds accordingly. The more you anchor yourself in inner safety, the less life feels like something to survive. It becomes something to experience, explore, and enjoy. Harmony is not something you chase. It is something you allow by creating peace within yourself first. Every experience you have is filtered through what you assume to be true. Long before events unfold, assumptions quietly set the stage. They shape how you interpret situations, how you expect others to behave, and how you believe life will respond to you. These assumptions are often invisible, yet they are powerful. They guide your attention, influence your emotions, and determine the meaning you give to what happens around you. An assumption is not always a conscious thought. It is a feeling of expectation, a background belief that runs automatically. You may assume that things will work out, or you may assume they won't. You may assume people are kind, or that they are unreliable. Life reflects these assumptions faithfully, not because it favors one outcome over another, but because it mirrors your internal framework. When you assume rejection, you become alert to signs of it. Neutral actions feel personal. Silence feels like disapproval. Life appears to confirm your belief, even when other explanations exist. In the same way, when you assume support, you notice cooperation, understanding, and opportunities. The world does not change instantly, but your experience of it does. Assumptions also influence your behavior in subtle ways. If you assume you are not valued, you may hesitate to speak up or set boundaries. Others then respond to that hesitation. If you assume you are respected, you naturally carry yourself with confidence. Life responds to that confidence through smoother interactions and clearer outcomes. Many assumptions are formed early in life, shaped by past experiences, conditioning, and emotional memories. They were once coping mechanisms, ways to make sense of the world. But what protected you in the past may limit you now. Life continues to reflect these old assumptions until they are brought into awareness and gently replaced. The moment you begin questioning your assumptions, you reclaim choice. You realize that beliefs are not facts, they are interpretations, and interpretations can change. When you choose assumptions that support peace, trust, and self-worth, your emotional state shifts. That shift alters how you engage with life, and life responds accordingly. Assumptions do not require effort to work. They operate naturally. This is why forcing positivity rarely lasts. True change comes from choosing beliefs that feel believable and kind. You do not need to convince yourself of perfection. You only need to assume safety, worthiness, and possibility. As you practice conscious assumption, you may notice resistance. Old beliefs may surface. This is not failure. It is awareness. Each time you gently redirect your assumption, you weaken the old pattern. Over time, the new assumption becomes familiar, and life begins reflecting it more consistently. Relationships are especially sensitive to assumptions. When you assume someone cares, you interact openly and warmly. When you assume indifference, you withdraw or defend. The dynamic that unfolds often confirms your original belief. By changing your assumption, you change the emotional tone of the relationship. Assumptions also shape how you experience challenges. If you assume obstacles are signs of failure, you feel discouraged. If you assume they are part of growth, you stay engaged. The situation may look the same, but your experience of it is entirely different. Life does not argue with your assumptions. It agrees with them. It organizes experiences to match what you expect to be true. This is not about control. It is about alignment. When your assumptions align with self-trust and openness, life flows more easily. You are always assuming something. The question is whether your assumptions are supporting your well-being or reinforcing old limitations. By choosing assumptions rooted in compassion and possibility, you create experiences that reflect those qualities. As you become more intentional with your assumptions, life begins to feel less random. You recognize the connection between inner belief and outer experience. This awareness empowers you to live with greater ease, confidence, and clarity. Assumptions shape experiences because they shape perception, and perception shapes reality. When you choose assumptions that honor your worth and trust life, the world responds with experiences that mirror that trust. When you begin healing yourself, the world around you starts to change in quiet and unexpected ways. Not because you force anything to shift, and not because others suddenly decide to behave differently, but because the mirror you are looking into has changed. Life reflects your inner state with great accuracy. As you heal within, the reflection must follow. Many people spend years trying to fix external circumstances, relationships, situations, or people, believing that peace will arrive once the outside world improves. Yet lasting change does not begin there. The outer world responds to your inner condition. When old wounds remain unhealed, life continues to present familiar patterns that touch those wounds. When healing takes place, those patterns lose their purpose and begin to dissolve. Healing yourself means bringing awareness and compassion to the parts of you that learned to protect, hide, or harden. These parts were formed in moments when love felt uncertain or safety felt fragile. They are not flaws. They are memories stored in the body and mind. When you meet these memories with kindness instead of judgment, something softens. That softening sends a new signal outward. As inner healing unfolds, your reactions change. Situations that once triggered fear or anger no longer have the same intensity. You pause where you once reacted. You choose understanding where you once defended. This shift alters the energy you bring into every interaction. People respond differently, not because they are trying to, but because the emotional dynamic has changed. Healing also changes what you tolerate. As you grow more connected to your worth, you naturally release patterns that required self-abandonment. You stop explaining yourself to be accepted. You stop chasing to feel chosen. The mirror of life reflects this self-respect through healthier boundaries and more balanced relationships. Often, healing reveals itself through subtraction rather than addition. Certain connections fade. Certain dynamics no longer fit. This is not loss. It is alignment. Life rearranges itself to match the wholeness you are cultivating. What remains feels more honest and supportive. Your body plays a powerful role in this reflection. As emotional wounds heal, your nervous system becomes calmer. You feel safer in your own presence. This inner safety is felt by others. It creates an atmosphere of ease that invites cooperation instead of conflict. Life feels less like a struggle and more like a conversation. Healing yourself does not require revisiting every painful memory. It requires changing how you relate to yourself now. When you stop blaming yourself for past experiences and begin offering compassion, the mirror responds. Situations stop replaying old lessons because they are no longer needed. As healing deepens, you may notice that challenges become opportunities rather than threats. You trust yourself to navigate discomfort. This confidence reflects outward as smoother experiences and unexpected support. Life mirrors your belief that you can handle what comes. The mirror also responds to forgiveness. When you release resentment toward yourself and others, you free a great amount of emotional energy. That energy returns to you as clarity, creativity, and peace. Relationships become lighter. Circumstances feel less heavy. Healing is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming whole. When you accept yourself fully, including your past, life no longer needs to remind you of unresolved pain. The reflection shifts from repetition to expansion. Over time, you realize that the world has been responding to you all along. It reflects your beliefs, your emotional tone, and your level of self-connection. As you heal yourself, you offer life a new image to reflect. The greatest gift of healing is not control over reality. It is harmony with it. When you heal within, the mirror becomes kinder, clearer, and more supportive. And in that reflection, you recognize the peace you were seeking was always inside you, waiting to be seen.